Yes. Any points from our last week's discussion? Anyone can go ahead. You're there? What's your name? Were you there?
I actually attended your online class
Oh.
week, but I couldn't attend it properly because that's in house.
Okay, no problem. Welcome. I think your first time you're coming here, right? Nice, nice. Okay. Yes.
Last we had a very good example, like we have taken drama high school team, but after ending of drama, I should go back to normal. Like,
Yes.
And then we were discussed like the pain. I mean, when someone gives birth, then how it's pain.
Yes. We discussed birth, death, old age, and disease, and we went into the description of what is the situation at the time of birth. Yes, and the pain at the time of death. How much pain it is? 40,000. 40,000 what? Huh? 40,000 scorpions biting at the same time. That is the kind of pain we experience during death. Okay. Yes. What else? Okay. Any points? Anything that you recollect?
Somebody is becoming nursing theater and he was like, actually trying to.
Okay, maybe some other lecture you heard. Okay. Anyone online? Anything? Any other points? Any points you remember? Okay. So yeah, I mean, we were discussing, Krishna basically in this section, I gave you an overview of, how the chapter starts and, there is discussion of yoga rudha, yoga ruruksha, right? In the beginning, 9 shlokas, and then Krishna goes on to describe sadhana and siddhi. You do this, you get this result. Yogis do this, this is how they practice, this is the result, etc. So that's the same section that is going on right now, where Krishna is discussing a little bit, this is how the yogis practice, and this is the result they get, like that. So shloka after shloka, he's doing that. And yeah, last time I think we had quite a lot of discussions, multiple stories. We also heard the story of Dhruv Maharaj, if you remember. How, and we, that too from the shloka, that how the yogis who are meditating on the Lord are completely absorbed. They are oblivious to the environment outside what is happening. And they're completely fixed in trance. And we discuss what is trance and samadhi, and then we related the story of Dhruv Maharaj. Any other points? Anyone online? Anything you remember? Any pointers? It'd be a good practice to get a notebook and make notes so you remember, right? Okay, let's move on. So today's shloka 6.24. Let's chant. Sa nischayena yuktavyo yoga nirvina chetasa sankalpa prabhavan kamams tyaktva sarvan asheshatah manasavendriyagramam viniyamya samantata. Translation. You want to read translation?
One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith, and not to be deviated from the path. One should abandon without expectation all material desires, born of mental speculation, and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind.
It's very nice. So one should engage oneself in practice of yoga with determination. Right? So Srila Rupa Goswami also, I think, it's coming in the purport only. So I'll wait. I'll probably finish this. Yeah. So one should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith, and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without expectation all material desires born of mental speculation, and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Purport. The yoga practitioner should be determined and should patiently prosecute the practice without deviation. One should be sure of success at the end and pursue this course with great perseverance, not becoming discouraged if there is any delay in the attainment of success. Success is sure for the rigid practitioners. Regarding Bhakti Yoga, Rupa Goswami says, Utsaha Nishayat Dhairyat Tat Karma Pravartanat Sangatyaga Sato Vritte Shadbhir Bhakti Prasidhyati. It's a very, very important shloka from Sri Updeshamrit. Sri Updeshamrit, or in English, Nectar of Instructions, is a very small book written by Srila Prabhupada, and actually originally written by Srila Rupa Goswami. Prabhupada has translated that. So this is basically, this forms like the fundamentals of devotional life, right from the beginning, up till the highest stage. It's a very small book, right? Only 11 shlokas, 18 shlokas, 18, 11. 11, I think. 11 instructions, I guess. And it's a very small book, but those 11 or 18, just double check, shlokas actually contains entire thing, right from what a practitioner should do right from the beginning. Therefore, it's actually a book recommended for everyone. Somebody who's just starting definitely should get that book, right, and read. So right from the beginning, what one needs to do. 11. What one needs to do, right up to the highest stage of devotion, you can attain. It's all there, just in 11 shlokas. That's it, right? So therefore, it's called nectar, or the essence of all instructions given by Srila Rupa Goswami. So this is one of the shlokas from the nectar of instruction. Utsaha Nishchayat Dhairyat. So utsaha means enthusiasm. So one should endeavor with enthusiasm. If in devotion you don't have enthusiasm, any endeavor actually requires enthusiasm. Even if you do something materially, abhi aap kuch kaam karne jao, if you're not enthusiastic, if you're half-heartedly doing something, right, what will happen? How good that work will be, right? You may not get the desired result out of that work also, right? That you may meet so many failures. Even putting so much endeavor with enthusiasm, people meet failures. So without enthusiasm, to kya hoga? Right? Nothing can be achieved. So in devotional life also, devotional life is completely voluntary. Right? Nobody is putting a gun in your head, ki, Arey, next week you have to come this Saturday. Next Saturday you have to come. Right? Nobody's putting a gun on your head. Right? It's voluntary. You want to, you like it, you want to come, you're interested, right, in your own devotional progress, therefore you're coming. So it's a voluntary process, right? So Srila Prabhupada, in fact, in Canada, he was celebrating Janmashtami, and so the whole day they were reading Krishna book. So from morning, they were chanting, of course, in the morning, early in the morning, and it was early days, 1967 or I think 67 maybe. So very early days of the Krishna consciousness movement. The devotees were very, very new. And the Canada temple had just recently opened, and Prabhupada was there. Was celebrating Janmashtami. And for the first time, a lot of devotees were fasting. Devotees were used to prasadam, ISKCON bullets. Prabhupada used to keep this whole jar of gulab jamun. And, and anyone going back and forth could just pick up one and pop. Right? So that's how devotees became devotees, with prasadam. So, and they were used to feasting. So, pineapple halwas and, puris and, so many different varieties cooked in pure ghee, right? So they're all used to feasting. And of course, Krishna consciousness is joyful process. You can have prasada. In fact, today, there is, we'll be having Radha Rasbihari's Rajbhog Mahaprasad. We've, booked that, and you all will be honoring that prasada. So, Krishna consciousness is full of joy. We chant, dance, feast, right? That's our process. So devotees were very used to, feasting. And Janmashtami full day fast, right? 24 hours practically, it was fasting, and that too without water. So devotees were like, "Arey, what is this fasting?" So Srila Prabhupada was engaging them the entire day. From morning, there was chanting, early in the morning, Mangalarti, then chanting, then Shringararti, Guru Puja, Bhagavatam class. After Bhagavatam class, also, then Prabhupada, there was no prasadam, right? So, so they started reading Krishna book. So from afternoon till evening, Prabhupada went on reading one chapter of Krishna book, then second chapter of Krishna book. Devotees thought now there'll be a break. Then the third chapter of Krishna book. Devotees thought now there'll be a break. Fourth chapter, fifth chapter, like that it went on, and it was almost night time. And devotees were also, doing different services. Some devotees were doing different services. And night time, when, the Prabhupada had almost finished like 9-10 chapters, right, evening time. So then Prabhupada stopped and he said, so, what would you like to do for Krishna? So, one devotee said, whatever, Krishna wants me to do. So Prabhupada explained, no, Krishna consciousness is a voluntary process, right? Krishna wants to see, what do you want to offer to Krishna, right? So what are you enthusiastic to serve Krishna? In which way you are enthusiastic to serve Krishna, like that. So what would you like to offer to Krishna, right? So then devotees started saying, one devotee used to go in the kitchen and roll chapatis. He's like, I love rolling chapatis for Krishna. I would like to roll chapatis forever for Krishna. Like that. Some devotee said, oh, I love to pluck flowers for Krishna. I want to pluck flowers every day, throughout my life for Krishna, like that. So each and every devotee went on, describing what they would like to do for Krishna. So that is a question for us also, right? What would you like to, do for Krishna? We need to think and meditate on that. And of course, we get inspired by different services. When we hear this devotee did like this, right? So when we hear, then something will really inspire. Some people like to do kirtan a lot. Some people like to do book distribution. Some others like to cook for the Lord. Someone else likes to do menial service like cleaning the temple, cleaning the floor. Somebody likes to serve prasadam, right? So multiple services. There's no dearth of engagement, right? You can be engaged 24/7. It's up to you. What do you want to do for the Lord, like that? So, so one has to be very, very enthusiastic, utsaha, right? And Srila Prabhupada, he translates in Nectar of Instruction, enthusiasm means endeavoring with intelligence, right? Where your mind is, right? Your energy is, right? You'll be very enthusiastic if, mind is in something, right? So when intelligence is superior to the mind, if you're trying to, think and meditate, oh, how can I do this service nicely for the Lord, right? Applying all your intelligence, all your brains, right? How can I do this service so nicely, right? Like we could arrange this class, in a simple manner where we just have a dari, right, sitting on the floor, having no laptops or no internet. So, half of the people who are here online would not have been able to attend, right? Only people sitting here. But we thought, okay, let others also listen. So we have the arrangement to, Prabhuji nicely, very kindly gave us some internet so to connect, and we're connecting, and we have so many people online. And we could even improve the service further, by so many other ways. I mean, we need to meditate and think more and more, How can we make the experience for people sitting here better? Right? We have the AC on, right? So we are comfortable. We have nice prasadam arrangement. So there is a big hook. Some devotees are enthusiastic to only eat prasadam. So yeah, whatever you're enthusiastic about, that's okay. You should be enthusiastic about something. There's a devotee in the Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Kala Krishna Das, if I'm not, no, sorry, some other name. I forgot his name. So he is extremely enthusiastic about eating maha. Maha means, right? So when the Lord, he accepts prasadam, Jagannath actually, when he accepts prasad, that's prasad, right? When he accepts bhoga, it's prasad, becomes prasad, right? The Lord has tasted, his saliva is into the prasad and he sanctified the prasad, etc. It's prasad. And then the same prasad is then offered to Bimla Devi. Bimla Devi is actually, a form of Durga Devi, right? So Mother Parvati, actually, Mother Parvati, she basically did a lot of austerity to get this prasad, right? There's an entire story behind it. I won't get into it, otherwise it'll be too long. So basically, so she requested, after so much of tapasya, she requested that you gave prasad to Mahadev and I did not get, or you gave it to Narad Muni, Muni gave it to Lord Shiva, I did not get. So you need to give me, not just to me, but to all my children. All children are, all of us, everyone in the material world are children of Durga Devi in one sense. So because of her, we are all getting Jagannath Prasad, right? So Prasad, when again offered to a great devotee like Durga Devi, becomes Mahaprasad, right? So there was this devotee in the Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he used to love having Mahaprasad, which means after the Lord has accepted the offering, then some devotee has to eat, and then he eats the remnants. So this devotee, he was famous. जहां पे भी जाते थे हर एक डिवोटी का महाप्रसाद खाते थे somehow or the other, right? हर एक डिवोटी का. So there was one devotee who was very, very humble. He thought कि नहीं, I would not give my remnants to anyone, right? It's offense or something like that, he was thinking. So he was very careful that nothing goes out, not even a single grain remains in his plate. So this devotee, other devotee who loves eating Mahaprasad, what he did was he one day came and to this devotee's house, the other devotee's house, and he got a lot of mangoes, right? As this is for the Lord, for your deities to offer, right? And he offered, and then they all had some prasad, right? After offering was done. So this devotee ate, his family ate, and they were very careful. Isko hamara jhota nahi dena. They served him separately. And then after everything was over, this devotee went out and he waited behind their house for an entire day. He waited there. At night, the wife came and threw all the garbage with the mango peels. And then he took the mango peels and ate. And like, now I've eaten all the devotees. And the same devotee, then when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was cleaning the temple of Gundicha, right? There's a whole pastime of Gundicha Marjan. In fact, it's coming towards the end of the month. So there's a pastime of Gundicha Marjan where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he actually goes and cleans the Gundicha temple where Lord Jagannath comes from the main temple, Jagannath temple, to Gundicha temple in Rath Yatra. He comes. So in the Gundicha temple, a day before the Lord arrives, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, with all his 200 devotees from Bengal, they cleaned the entire temple very, very nice. There's a beautiful description in Chaitanya Charitamrita about this, how they were cleaning and how meticulously they cleaned. And it's described, when you clean the temple, it's cleaning of the heart. The more you scrub, the more dirt you remove. There was a competition between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the devotees, right? Who will collect more dust, right? So they cleaned with brooms. Then they collected a lot of big pebbles and leaves and grains, etc., from the floor, from the ceiling, everywhere. And then they cleaned with water. They actually had a line of devotees to Induzumna Sarovar, and from there they were actually getting pots and they were putting on the floor, and with brooms they were then cleaning the floor. And their mode of communication was not that, oh, you bring that pot and put the water here, I'll clean here. They were not saying anything. They were simply, chanting the names of Krishna. So they would indicate Krishna, 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 like that they would clean. So that's how they were cleaning. And so this devotee, while, the same devotee who was taking everyone's Mahaprasad, while Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was on the Simhasan of Lord Jagannath and he was cleaning with his own hands. So while he was cleaning, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in ecstasy was crying that this is the place where the Lord will be sitting. And, along with the water, the tears also, it was like syringes of tears, right? So it was washing his whole body and his feet, and it was like dropping off the Simhasan. And the same devotee got the opportunity to take Charnamrita like that. So, and he got that because he had Mahaprasad of all the other devotees. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appreciated his mood of, being menial servant or humble servant of all the other Vaishnavas and taking their eminence. So therefore he got the direct Charnamrita of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as well. So yeah, so you should be very enthusiastic even for eating Mahaprasadam, right? And Nischaya is determination, right? One should be extremely determined. And in fact, the very next one is Dhairya. Prabhupada actually describing determination and Dhairya both here. The yoga practitioner should be determined and should patiently prosecute the practice without deviation. So a few years ago, I was in Vrindavan and this same thing was being discussed. And I think Bhima Prabhu was giving the class. So I asked the question, how can somebody be enthusiastic and patient at the same time? Right? So if we are patient, then we are, theek hai. Hoga, kabhi na kabhi to Krishna milenge, right? Enthusiasm means, oh, I want the Lord now, today, right? What can I do? What can I do to, serve Him, right? There was this proper disciple. Every single day, every single day he would get up with a thought that, what can I do today for Srila Prabhupada? That was his thought. Every single day, as soon as he would get up, his thought was, what can I do today for Srila Prabhupada? And just with this thought, he would do some amazing things throughout the day. He was completely dependent on the Lord. And his every single day, I am forgetting the name of the book, but his every single day was an adventure. I think, who's that Mataji who's in the education ministry? I forgot her name. She's a initiating guru also. Urmila Mataji. So her case, Urmila Mataji also, I think I read one of her Facebook posts. So she says, if you want adventure in your life, then become Krishna conscious, right? Because every single day is so different and filled with things to be done for the Lord. So if you look at it like that every single day it's an open canvas, you can do some amazing things for the Lord, right? So this devotee every day used to get up thinking that what can I do for Srila Prabhupada today? And he would achieve some like miraculous things literally in his day. Every single day was like that. Somebody would come out of and there is, in fact, there is another group here in the temple called BYC. So they were actually, they took out a bus and they would go in different places and just to Harinam. Now they started, from here in a bus with some devotees with a limited amount of money, say 5,000 rupees or something. They started like that and they traveled. And they keep on traveling to different cities, right? Somewhere or the other, their money will run out, and it ran out, right? They had no money for the petrol. They just left without thinking, where will we stay? They left without, making proper arrangements. Ki, yahan jaakar yahan khana hai aapko. No arrangements for food, no arrangements for staying. But they went on a month-long yatra like that. Month-long. Every single place they just went and did Harinam. They collected, people would come and give prasadam. Somebody, had a school, they gave them place to stay. Like that, they went on from one place to the other, completely depending on the Lord. So just imagine, right? And in olden days, devotees used to live like that. So many Prabhupada disciples would just, there were bus parties. They would just go out, and these devotees just emulated, what they had heard Prabhupada disciples do. They would just take the bus, go out somewhere, and they would just collect donations to get food. They would just do kirtan, book distribution throughout the day, and in the morning they would just. So one devotee was describing how in winter, in US, in some place in winter, they were actually early in the morning they used to go out and take a shower. They were in bus party, and whatever they had a bucket, they would just fill waters from somewhere, or if there was some spray somewhere, they would just take a quick shower and then go about their entire day. They would do their Mangalarti chant, etc., etc. So once they were actually they figured out somewhere near a petrol pump there was a spray to take a shower. So one devotee, he got out. He was telling his experience how he got out, and he picked up that water spray to take a shower. And it was freezing cold. So there was snow around, and he was literally covered with a little bit ice. And then he was taking a shower, cold shower, and he was like shaking. So immediately there was a car which came in, and the lights went on to this devotee, and they thought it's a ghost, and they ran away. Yeah, so funny stories. Anyways, so so much determination, right, and dependence on the Lord, that Krishna will take care. Avashya rakshibe Krishna. Krishna will certainly take care. Right. So utsaha, enthusiasm, like going all the way out to serve the Lord. Right. Nishchay, complete determination, no matter what. Right. I will serve the Lord. And this determination we see in the lives of so many devotees. Right. Any examples you can think of for determination? Any examples online as well? What are good examples of determination? Yes.
So during COVID, you also had sessions online.
Uh-huh.
And then you decided we'll go offline also, and you're asked in the group, and majority of them didn't really volunteer. They were so, because they're living in different places. But I really admire your Prabhuji and Krishna Mataji's determination that we will start, and how you got started. Right? Yeah, Prabhuji Mataji, how it was, we really, that really moved me.
Thank you. Any other examples of determination from the scriptures, from other devotees around?
Dhruv Maharaj.
Guru Maharaj, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Good to hear you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, Guru Maharaj is such a great example of determination. It's impossible. So he would, Madhaj, you want to describe? Maybe I can speak, but since you brought up the example, you can. Oh, actually, you're saying Dhruv Maharaj. My bad. I thought Guru Maharaj. Yes, Dhruv Maharaj is a great example of determination. Yes, 6 months. Shabri, yes, 60 years she waited for Lord Ramchandra. That's enthusiasm with patience, right? So that is the answer even I got, that you have to apply your intelligence, be enthusiastic, at the same time persevere, right? Because it's a gradual process. And if you take the headache of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has one headache. What is that headache? He has one headache. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has one thing for which he has a headache, right? What is that headache? If you take care of that headache, he will take care of your headache.
He wants to take all of us back.
Yes. So one anxiety of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, Jare dekhe tare kaho Krishnam deshu. Spread the message. He planted a mango tree, in Srivasa Angan, and it fructified immediately into a big tree, big mango tree. And there were mangoes without skin and without a seed. It was just pulp. Only pulp. And it was this big mango. Not this much, this big mango. Right? So sweet. One mango you ate, you'll be full. You'll be full, completely, fully satisfied. You won't feel like eating anything else. One mango. And there were hundreds and hundreds of mangoes on that tree. Right? Devotees ate and they were fully satisfied. There were so many mangoes still. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's headache is, I want you all to distribute this mango. Alone, how much can I distribute? Right? Alone, how much can I distribute? So I want all of you all to distribute these mangoes. This mango is nothing but, the fruit of love of God. So that's his headache. If you take that headache of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right, it's not really a headache, right? So if you're distributing mangoes, your hands are, full of mango pulp, right? So you get to taste more. So if you're distributing, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes care of your headache of chanting nicely your 16 rounds. Right? You have this headache, taste kaise aayega chanting mein. So he takes care of your headache of giving you that taste for chanting. So that's the answer I got from Bhima Prabhu. So enthusiasm, then determination, other examples of determination. You were saying Prabhupada?
Now, Prabhupada actually is determined to go to the West at the age of 70 years.
Yeah.
Suffering so much, 2 heart attacks on the way. Still not giving up. Because in India, he was distributing Bhagavad magazine. Every day and throughout these stores. That's still got up and continue.
And that's not the end. I mean, it just dawned upon me. I was recently a few weeks ago in New York, and I saw that place where Prabhupada started the Hare Krishna movement. It just dawned on me, my God, how Prabhupada lived there even for 2 days. It is so difficult. Every third street I went on, it smelled of hash. Right? People are there like, anyways, yeah. So Kali Yuga, if you want to see, you can go there. The manifestation of, like, very obvious manifestation of Kali Yuga, you can just go there for a day. One day is enough, right? You can see the, complete manifestation of Kali Yuga. It is terrible. And it just dawned on me how Prabhupada even lived there for a day. It's so difficult, so difficult. I was scared at night. My sister had told me before I went there. My sister told me the crime rate is at its peak. Do not venture out at night. She lives there, not in New York. She lives in California side. But she told me, highest crime rate currently, do not venture out. Right? So at night, I actually saw, in fact, when I was there in the area that's called Bowery, where Prabhupada started 26 2nd Avenue, and then I happened to actually visit that place. So we just outside, and there was a person who was completely high on drugs, and he actually came and knocked, and our shoes were outside. Like, I want that shoes, and we had to deal with that person. Some or the other, show him off so that our shoes are saved. But it's so difficult. It's so difficult. How Prabhupada actually transformed such kind of people is unimaginable. With so much patience, right? Prabhupada, he used to actually do, when he started these, programs, first of all, before having a place, he was sitting in the park all alone. He had no place to stay. That was the coldest winter in New York, which he was there. And mind you, it's freezing. It goes in minus temperatures, right? He was alone. He had no place to stay, right? And he was in this park. He was chanting Hare Krishna, right? Imagine the level of tolerance and things he went through. And then somehow or the other, then some people got attracted. He started, some classes. They got him some place, and that place is not very closely placed. It's a very small place, right? And he had to literally. I was reading in Miracle at 2nd Avenue, that book. Literally, he had to come up and down, going over people. There were people lying on the floor, on the stairs, completely high on drugs, right? He had to actually walk over them to get to his room. And, even while he was lecturing once, there was this person who literally slammed the door, banged open, and he entered, and he straight away went to the washroom. and he was fixing some toilet rolls there. So Prabhupada, he was describing how everyone has an innate nature to serve, right? Nobody can live without service. And this happened. This person, he banged open the door and he just went inside and fixed some toilet papers. And he said, Swamiji, it's done. So he said, see, even this person, he wants to serve. Right? But really, I mean, till the time you don't see it, you won't really realize, at the age of 70, Prabhupada went there, it's unimaginable. Right?
So many people.
Yes. So, yes. So Prabhupada, when he used to hold these programs, he himself used to cook for everyone. Right? He had very little money. Right? Very little money. Still, he would get things himself. And imagine, 70-year-old person going out, getting things himself in the cold winter, cooking everything, feeding like big, gigantic people, literally. Right? They used to eat like anything. Right? Feeding them. Then they would just leave their plates there and they would go. Prabhupada used to pick up everything, clean everything himself. Right? Everything he did for a very long time until someone asked, can we help also? Right? Until they were purified enough to start serving. So till that time, Prabhupada used to do everything himself. So we can see how much enthusiasm, right? Prabhupada could have simply been in Vrindavan, chanted his rounds and gone back to God. Right? He was actually from Golok. Right? He could have simply chanted and gone back again. But for us, for our sake, he took this endeavor. So much enthusiasm, so much determination and patience. Prabhupada, when he actually went, he was not sure whether people understand his language or not. अगर हमको पता है क्लास में ठीक है लोगों को समझ में आएगा, let me put some effort, let me go there, let me give the class, right? But I'm not unsure whether these people will understand the language itself or not. Still, he took that long. And in the same company, he requested a return ticket, and he would always go and check when the ships are go back.
क्या ये तो उल्टा WhatsApp का कॉल किया है तुझे, पता नहीं कैसे.
He would keep checking back with the same shipping company when are the ships leaving back from New York to India again, like that. Because nothing was materializing. Still, he kept patient, but kept some options open, like that. So yeah, I mean that's one great example of determination. Any other examples you can think of? Guru Maharaj, yes.
Guru Maharaj, no matter he keeps traveling, so much of traveling, but still, like Mangalati, Guru Maharaj never missed it.
Everywhere Guru Maharaj goes, no matter what time he lands, if he lands at 2, he is there 3:30 in the Mangal Arti, doing Arti for the Lord. Yes. And even Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, even after so many physical difficulties, he was in the hospital, right? And in such a condition that, doctors are saying that he won't be able to do anything. He's just like a vegetable, like that. There was a comment like that. And imagine in such a state, somebody may be, when you're not able to do, your half body is paralyzed, etc. People go in depression, right? They cry like anything. And, people die out of depression in such states. They are not able to live much longer. But Jayapataka Swami Maharaj is there and is preaching to others. He's preaching to the nurses, preaching to the doctors. They are actually, and every day they come and check. Maharaj checks with them. Have you chanted your rounds today? And the doctors are surprised. And just looking at him, right? If they understand the philosophy or not, that's a different story. They're seeing the live example of Bhagavad, right? There is, book Bhagavad, you hear Bhagavatam and you get purified, and there is Vyakti Bhagavad, the person Bhagavad, and they're seeing his example and getting purified, right? And there are so many people who became disciples also in this whole course of his treatment. So many doctors who became disciples, like that.
Those times when the nurses would say we not chanted, so you would say, okay, I'm not taking
Yeah. And I think even I forgot his name. I gave the example earlier. The Maharaj who was there stuck in Israel, the war. Danvir Maharaj, yes. So his name is Danvir Maharaj. He went to Israel to preach, and somehow or the other, there was a war that broke out, Israel and Palestine thing. So they declared that all the Americans will also participate in the war, have to participate in the war. Israel is a very small country, so everybody, all the men, they were kind of pulled into the war. Even the Americans, they were pulled into the war. So Dhanvir Maharaj, the sannyasi, is there to preach. Like, okay, he's now in a situation that he has to take part in the war. So they had the army camps, and Dhanvir Maharaj, he's actually discussing with the lawyers, what are the options? What can we do? So I don't have to fight. So he said, in the army they have good provision for religious practices, so you can take some concessions on those religious grounds. So Dhanvir Maharaj went up to the head of the camp, the commander of the camp, and he said, I have my religious practices, so I need some time in the day to conduct my religious practices. So this commander, he asked, how much time do you want? So he said 6 hours. Like, what will you do for 6 hours? So he started explaining that, I have to get up in the morning, 4:30, then I have to take a shower, then I have to, wake up the deities, then I have to do Mangal Aarti, then I have to cook for the Lord, then I have to offer, Mangal Bhoga, etc. Then there is Guru Puja, then there is Shringar Aarti, then there is, Bhagavatam class, and then again I have to cook, I have to give feast, etc. Then I have to, give a bath to the Lord, etc. Like that, he explained the elaborate process. So, iski to sar ke upar se ja raha hai. Okay, fine. Right, let's see. I give you 6 hours, let's see. So Dhanvir Maharaj, in the middle of the camp, right, he started doing all of these things. He set up his nice suitcase with his altar and his deities, and he got up in the morning, started doing aarti, and so many other things. So looking at him, other people got jealous, right? They thought, hey, what is this? This man is spending so many hours, doing all of this, and we have to go and fight on the front, right? So they also, consulted their own, priests and lawyers, and one of the priests came and to this commander and said, hey, we also want our concession. We also want, we also want to do our practices. We have religious practices. So this commander asked, okay, how much time do you need? So we also want 5-6 hours. Like, what 5-6 hours? 15 minutes से ऊपर तुम्हारा कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. I see this man, and by the time he had developed some affection for Maharaj also, I see this man every single day, right? He's moving some things like this, like this, like this. He's dancing up and down, right? He's playing something, right? What will you do? 15 minutes ज़्यादा तुम्हारा कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. Right? So, you're not getting any concessions. So, but then there was this whole thing growing in the camp. So he got him a separate room. Okay, you don't do it in the open. You have a separate room. So more facility for Maharaj. Right? And then, somehow the other complaint reached to the general. So the general actually came to this camp, and he took a meeting with Maharaj, and then he was discussing, on the front we have to kill the enemy, right? So he was asking everyone, and he asked Maharaj, so how will you kill? So Maharaj said, Gita says nobody is killed. Right? The body dies, the soul never dies. No, but what about killing? So Maharaj said, who can kill? If the soul is eternal, who can kill? So he was shut up. He had no answer. So later, this general, he went to Maharaj like, what is the real answer? So like that, out of that camp, two people actually became disciples of Dhanvir Maharaj as well. So because he was so determined to actually practice Krishna consciousness so enthusiastically. Right? He was giving Bhagavatam class where there was no one, but he was like, I will speak Bhagavatam, I'll hear Bhagavatam. Like that. So yeah. Okay, any other examples of determination?
Just excuse me for a minute. I think most of the devotees, they are determined.
Yes.
Seeing the spiritual masters, association, there is determination.
So when we get association of great devotees, therefore, it's extremely important when some senior devotees visiting us, we'll definitely inform you all. Do not miss the opportunity to hear them. When you're hearing some senior Vaishnavas like that, it's not just, you may be hearing the same thing, right? They might speak Bhagavad Gita. They might speak the same thing that you already heard. Of course, it's not the case. They have a lot of things, a lot of stories to tell you. But even if it's exactly the same stuff that you've heard before, hearing from their mouth, what happens is it's not just I'm saying somebody saying something and you're hearing. It's an exchange of consciousness. The mood and consciousness they carry for the Lord rubs off on you. So if you want determination, hear somebody who's determined. If you want enthusiasm, hear somebody who's very enthusiastic. If you want patience, hear somebody who's very patient, right? And of course, these Vaishnavas, they have all these qualities, wholesale mein bhara hua hai unke paas, right? When some sannyasis come and they speak. So you should never miss the opportunity of hearing some proper disciple of a sannyasi or a advanced devotee. So Rupa Goswami describes how one should be very, very enthusiastic to associate with people who are more advanced than himself. Right? One should have friendship with equals, right? Show mercy to somebody who are juniors, who are starting to help them, come in Krishna consciousness as much as possible, and seek out association. Be extremely enthusiastic to get association of people who are more advanced than us. That's the way to deal with these three different kind of people. Okay, so Utsaha, Nishchaya, Dhairya, Tat Karma Pravartana. And we can follow in the footsteps of these great devotees. Sangatyagat Sato Vritte. Give up association of non-devotees. Asat Sangatyaga A Vaishnavachar. Giving up association of non-devotees or association that drags us back into the material consciousness should be given up immediately. Again, Sri Rupa Goswami, I think in Nectar Devotion, he is describing how anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam, right? Whatever is favorable for Krishna consciousness, I should accept immediately. Pratikulasya varjanam. Whatever is unfavorable, one should reject immediately, right? No matter what cost one has to pay to get Krishna consciousness, one should pay, right? So no matter how allured you may be for certain things, if it's detrimental for Krishna consciousness, one should give it up, right? So therefore, one should have give up association of non-devotees. Now that doesn't mean I should give up my job, should give up my family because they're non-devotees. No. So one should actually conduct his work or his family affairs, as much as needed, as much as is required, right? One should give association, not take association. Right? Take association means I hear them, right? Very attentively. Hearing is very powerful, right? If you change the subject of your hearing, your fortune changes, right? So hearing is extremely powerful. So if you hear worldly talks, if you hear, Are isne aisa kiya, usne to uska, this person is so bad, we should take revenge. These are all worldly talks, right? Or, we should go there, we'll have a lot of fun and this and that. Oh, this movie or this cricket match, so many things, so many topics to discuss. So if you hear worldly talk, our consciousness, right? It's like jumping from the 100th floor, right? You come to the temple, you take association of devotees, you chant Hare Krishna, right? And then if you pay attention, give a good oral reception to all these worldly talks and be absorbed. Let your mind be absorbed in all these things. It is like jumping from the 100th floor and committing suicide, right? Itna acha consciousness build ke fir kood gaye, right? So that's how this worldly association. So we need to deal with people, of course. So we need to have discussions or things as much as is required, and not have your mind and ears absorbed in what people are saying like that. right? Sometimes situation, maybe you have to sit somewhere where this kind of discussion is going on. But, like in a Gita class or a Bhagavatam class, you are sitting here, but the mind can always go anywhere, right? Similarly, when you're sitting, with you can apply it reverse. When you're sitting with these kind of people and hearing Gramya Katha, right, the mind can actually be absorbed in the Lord still, right? So you need to develop that through practice. And that's what Prabhupada will be discussing, how a yogi is someone who is actually trained. It requires a lot of training, right? Prabhupada, I was hearing a class from these slokas only. Prabhupada is describing how a yogi, we cannot, in our situation, we cannot, try to imitate some great devotee or a yogi by sitting in one place and just chanting or just thinking, trying to remember the Lord. Our minds will run here and there. So therefore, Prabhupada introduced 16 rounds of chanting at least. That's at least 2 hours. And then rest of the day, do physical service, right? Be involved. All your senses are involved like that. So hearing and going out and distributing books and, doing different services so that our mind is engaged. Because we are not so elevated that 24/7 we can, constantly think of the Lord or remember the Lord. So you cannot imitate these yogis or we cannot imitate great devotees also, like Haridas Thakur. So one can execute the process of Bhakti Yoga successfully with full-hearted enthusiasm, perseverance, and determination by following the prescribed duties in association of devotees, by engaging completely in the activities of goodness. Right? As for determination, what should follow the example of the sparrow who lost her eggs in the waves of the ocean. A sparrow had laid her eggs on the shore of the ocean, but the big ocean carried away the eggs on its waves. The sparrow became upset, very upset, asked the ocean to return her eggs. The ocean did not even consider her appeal. So the sparrow decided to dry up the ocean. She began to pick out water with her small beak, and everyone laughed at her for her impossible determination. The news of her activity spread, and at last Garuda, the gigantic bird carrier of Lord Vishnu, heard it. He became compassionate towards his small sister bird, and so he came to see the sparrow. Garuda was very pleased by the determination of the small sparrow, and he promised to help. Thus, Garuda at once asked the ocean to return her eggs, lest he himself take up the work of the sparrow. The ocean was frightened at this and returned the eggs. Thus, the sparrow became happy by the grace of Garuda. Similarly, the practice of yoga, especially Bhakti Yoga in Krishna consciousness, may appear to be a very difficult job. But if anyone follows the principle with great determination, the Lord will surely help, for God helps those who help themselves. So one has to endeavor with very, very great determination. And in fact, I recently took a session in one of the colleges, SPIT, and I was talking on, how one should actually plan, right? Like we plan our careers, etc. Right? So I could not really, of course, it was like an open session, and I could not speak a lot to the students, openly. But maybe here I can. So it's already 12:30. I'll just do this small exercise. This is something which I'll just show you, and you can do at your own time in your own at your own places, right? And next week we can discuss this more. So something on the board. Okay, so this is so this is something which even actually a lot of big brands do for themselves, right? To be extremely focused, right? So this is our why. Our or rather, it can actually change. So, is everyone able to see, or it's okay? So we need to basically be very clear. A lot of brands who are, very clear on their purpose, why they exist, right? They are the most successful brands on the planet. Right? Some people are stuck on how. Like, I'll give you an example. Encyclopedia. What is the job of encyclopedia? Information. To give, collate and combine all the information in the world on different subjects, and that becomes an encyclopedia. Now, Britannica is one of the companies who did encyclopedia, right? They were doing encyclopedias in forms of books, and they were stuck on how, right? How are they supposed to deliver that information in the form of books? वो लोग ने बोले हमको book printing आता है, हम वो करेंगे. हमको publishing आता है, we'll get some artists, do some illustrations, we'll gather information through some research, compile it in a book and give it. They were stuck on how. And then what? Wikipedia came, and their existence was in question. Right? They did not innovate. They did not change their direction. Right? They did not innovate, and they were like sidelined completely. If you look at Nintendo is a gaming console. They used to have those games, etc. So they transitioned from playing actually some mechanical games to digital games to computer games or consoles, and now to mobile games as well. So their purpose was, we have to deliver games. So as the technology improved, they kind of transitioned and moved and innovated. If you look at Amazon, for example, their purpose is we have to deliver the best customer service and take care of customers' needs. Now they started with some online book selling. They got into VCDs and DVDs and whatnot. Then they got into selling, became a marketplace for others to sell whatever material they wanted to sell, because they figured that online it's a big thing. So let others also sell through our platform. Then they got into physical devices like Alexa and so many other things. Then they got into Amazon Prime with videos and all of that. So they could branch out in 100 different things, because they were clear on what is their purpose. Right? Their purpose is to deliver a good customer service and make money out of that. Right? Like Google's purpose is to organize world's information and make it accessible to people. So that's their purpose, and they branched out into content, they branched out into devices, they branched out into search, they branched out into ads, hundreds of things, right? As the time moved on, they were not wiped away like encyclopedia. Why? Because the purpose was very, very clear. Similarly, in our lives, right? If you're clear on our purpose, right, we can always figure the how and the why, right? What and how, right? What we need to do today, it will be extremely clear. And one day, what do we need to achieve, right? Like if, say, for example, I'm going from A to B. If B is my ultimate goal and A is my starting point, right? And I have to move from A to B. So how do I know I'm moving in the right direction? I'll have some milestones here. Right. So these milestones become my short-term vision, while my long-term goal is to reach B. So I may have vision in spiritual life. By next year, I should be able to finish the entire Bhagavad. Right? I could have a vision or a goal that in the next 2 months I should learn at least one instrument, right? So that I can play in Kirtan, right? Or maybe from next week I should start cooking everything and offer to the Lord. Tomorrow I should start cooking everything and I'll start offering to the Lord. So like that, like how we are planning our material careers, right? Oh, I have to become this. I have to become the manager banna 2 saal, right? Or I have to become the principal of my school in 2 years, right? Whatever that goal is, correct? Like we plan. So why not plan the life? If we have extreme clarity that this is what I want to achieve, just walk back, right? So for getting to be, I need to, get here, and for this I need to get here and here. So my day-to-day things become extremely clear what I need to do today. Right? So this is an exercise. Purpose of life for us is very, very clear. It's very simple, right? Our goal is to go back to God, but our purpose is to please Krishna, please Guru and Krishna, serve. So our, sorry, I'll just come here actually, so they can hear also. So human form of life, our purpose is, or what we are looking for is to love and be loved, to serve, right, the Lord, to love the Lord, and to be loved by Him in reciprocation. So that's our purpose, right? Very clear. So if I want to be in the state where I am able to actually genuinely love the Lord and do loving service, what do I need to do? Now, what should I start doing now? And how will I know that I'm actually going ahead? So that's the visions, right? How do I know that I'm actually moving forward? What are the symptoms mentioned in the scriptures? What are the markers that are there? What information do I need to know? If I need to love someone, I need to know about him, right? So what all do I need to know? Right? What all do I need to do in service? Right? How to develop that love? So we have to kind of write down, and that could be individual, that could be specific to you. If, like we were discussing, right, it's your individual thought that what would you like to offer to the Lord, how would you like to serve Him, right? That may not be fully formed right now, so I need to assist devotees in serving so that I can find what I want to do for the Lord. That could be one thing as well, right? Or if you already have, this is something I love doing for the Lord, right? How do I excel in that? How can I make it in such a way, or make that something that actually becomes the reason for my liberation, for my going back to God, right? So like Prabhupada, just one instruction focused on the instruction of Shri Gurudev, right? That he in fact describes Vyasayatmika Buddhi, single pointed focus on the instructions of the spiritual master. He took that to his heart and soul, traveled to the West in that age, right, just to fulfill the orders of a spiritual master. And that became the reason for all of us being here today, right? So if you plan, right, those who fail to plan, they plan to fail. So if you plan, I think you can monitor yourself, and there will be this is enthusiasm, using your intelligence to endeavor enthusiastically, like that. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you, everyone. Prabhuji, you want to add something?
I was just thinking that it's very nice to see that we have to monitor ourselves. We can often set goals for ourselves, but lose track and not monitor ourselves. So to have a monitor above us.
Yes. Yes, perfect.
That is something that is good. Someone to check on us, going in the right direction. Especially living in a world where most of the time we spend is with people who are not practicing Krishna consciousness.
Perfect. Yes.
So we get so much influenced by their so it's good to have someone who's checking on us.
Yes. So one of our goals could also be, let us find some mentor who can keep a check on us. Yes, that's actually one of the beginning processes out of the so many angas of devotion, 64 angas, right? There are, I think, 16 which is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita is very, very important. And of course, there are 5 most important, etc. also. But this is one of the things, to inquire submissively from a bona fide spiritual master, to actually surrender to spiritual master, like that. So that should be one of our top agendas, right? In our pursuit of spiritual life. Top agendas is to find a guru and surrender to him, and of course have other. So there are multiple gurus. There is Diksha Guru, there is Shiksha Guru, there is Path Pradarshak Guru, like that. So at least have some guide immediately, and in the long term, Diksha Guru for sure, like that. Thank you, Prabhu, for that point. Any other thoughts? Any questions or any other thoughts? Any comments? Anyone?
great. It's a guide now how to proceed. Not haphazardly, we just start anything. This why is a very good question.
Anything? Any questions? Any thoughts? Something you like, something you not like? How to apply this in life? Right?
I
Anything?
mean, if you want to achieve something, milestones are important.
Yes. Milestones are extremely important. They help us understand if you're moving the right direction. Yes. Anyone online? Anything? Any questions you have, or anything that you, any reflection, anything that you liked, you're taking back from the class? Anything that you remember from the class? Today's class.
Beautiful session, Prabhuji. Thank you for just charging up the enthusiasm to continue monitoring, continue working. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any doubts or any reflections? Okay.
Just to add one.
Yes. Yes, Prabhu.
So, you mentioned mentor and how to please this guru, Shiva Prabhupada and the rest. So that could be like one of the guiding things in terms of which direction to go also.
Hmm.
Still, we have so many things to do.
Correct.
We might just start things not being guided by someone, but our mind. So there's one line where it says that satisfaction of self and expression master is the secret of success.
Yes.
So taking instruction from or class you can be a mentor who's telling us what is to be an example. Satisfying the secret.
So Prabhuji is mentioning a point that how satisfying the guru is a secret of success in spiritual life. So one should not be completely dictated by our own minds. Of course, this is great, but yeah, there is a chance of going astray. So you need, a guide or a spiritual mentor or a guru to tell you exactly which direction. And simply by satisfying guru, one can achieve the highest perfection. And that's what Srila Prabhupada is a great example for us in front of us, and so many others, his disciples as well. Yeah. All right. So नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी विचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाशकवेशितारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तों की जय। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Krishna, thank you, Prabhuji.